The wind moved softly across the red sand of planet Neora 9. Captain Ryan stood alone beside a crashed alien pod. His armor was covered in dust, his breathing slow under the heavy heat. When the smoke cleared, he saw something inside the pod. A girl. Her skin glowed faint purple, her silver eyes weak but alive. She looked almost human, and yet something in her face felt not of this world. When Ryan touched the side of the capsule, it opened with a hiss. Strange glowing symbols appeared on the metal, ancient, unreadable. The girl's eyes moved, and she whispered in a soft, broken voice, "Please, don't." Ryan froze. The translator on his helmet struggled to process her words. Why would she beg him not to help? He carried her back to his ship. Her name was Elira. She spoke slowly, her voice filled with both sadness and fear. She said she had traveled far, across dead worlds, searching for something she could no longer find. Ryan asked her what she meant, but she only looked away. When she touched the control panel of his ship, strange light spread across every screen. The ship's AI began to beep in warning. "Unknown data detected," it said. Ryan tried to shut it down, but the lights kept moving, flowing like veins across the metal walls. Elira whispered, "You have already awakened it." Ryan asked, "Awakened what?" But she didn't reply. She only stared at the stars through the ship window, her reflection trembling in the glass. That night Ryan couldn't sleep. The ship's monitors flickered with alien code. It looked like DNA changing, evolving, forming new shapes on its own. His heart raced. He felt as if the ship itself was breathing. When he went to check on Elira, she was standing near the main control core, her hands glowing faintly. She turned and said quietly, "The code has chosen you." Ryan stepped back. "What code?" he asked. "The code of life," she said. "The same one that built every world that ever lived." He stared at her, thinking she was delirious, but her eyes glowed with truth. Elira told him that her people had once found this code, an ancient program that moved through the universe, creating and reshaping life wherever it landed. Her people tried to control it, and it destroyed them. She was the last survivor. "The code builds life," she said. "It built mine. It built yours. But it also knows how to end it." Ryan felt his pulse rise. "You're saying humans were made by this thing?" She nodded. "You are its final version. The last design." The ship started to shake. Symbols glowed across the walls like veins of fire. Elira shouted, "It's reacting to you. You've already opened it." Ryan ran to the control deck and tried to override the system, but the AI refused. "Sequence locked," it said. "Human DNA identified. Code merging." The light filled the ship, wrapping around them. Ryan's mind flooded with visions, stars forming, oceans boiling, planets coming alive. He saw the rise and fall of thousands of civilizations. He saw how the code created everything and then waited in silence for a species strong enough to awaken it again. That species was humanity. When the light faded, Elira fell to her knees, her body trembling. "You don't understand," she said. "Every time the code awakens, it starts again. It deletes the old and makes the new. If we don't stop it, everything will change." Ryan looked at her. "You mean it'll destroy us?" She shook her head. "Not destroy, rewrite." Ryan's hands tightened. He had seen too many wars, too many worlds already ruined. Maybe the code was not evil. Maybe it was just nature resetting itself. But could he let it happen? The alarm screamed. The ship's systems began to melt under the data flood. Elira reached for him. "Ryan, please don't. If you complete the sequence, there's no going back." Her voice cracked, filled with desperation. But deep down, Ryan felt something calling him. A strange, peaceful pull like the universe whispering in his mind. He looked at her trembling hands and saw tears shining in her eyes. "Elira," he said softly, "what if this is what we were meant for?" He stepped toward the core. The light surrounded him. His body felt weightless. The code spoke in his thoughts, not with words, but with feelings, creation, connection, rebirth. He saw humanity's story, every moment from the first spark of life to now. It showed him what came next, a new form of existence not bound by flesh or time. Elira cried out, "Ryan, please don't." But it was too late. He pressed his hand on the glowing core. The ship exploded in a blinding wave of light. When the silence returned, there was no ship, no desert, no sky. Only stars bright and endless. Ryan opened his eyes. His body was gone, only light remained. He looked beside him and saw Elira, her form glowing too. "Ryan?" she whispered. "What happened?" He smiled faintly. "We finished the code," he said. "It didn't destroy us. It changed us." She touched his hand and their light merged, becoming one. Around them, new stars began to form, tiny sparks spreading through the dark. Elira smiled through her tears. "Now you understand," she said softly. "Why I said, please don't." Ryan looked into her glowing eyes. "Because we had to stop being human, to give life another chance." The stars pulsed brighter as if answering. Together they drifted into the light, two beings reborn, carrying the code that would seed 1,000 new worlds. In that silent ocean of stars, the whisper of the universe echoed once more, gentle, endless, alive. And somewhere in that infinite light, humanity began again. Stars flickered softly in the deep black of space, the remains of Ryan's ship drifting among them like pieces of broken glass. His thoughts were scattered, but his mind was awake inside the light. He no longer breathed, yet he existed. The universe around him felt alive, every atom whispering with strange new meaning. His body had turned into something both human and infinite. When he looked at his hands, they shimmered like starlight. He didn't feel pain, only a deep calm. Then he heard her voice. "Ryan," Elira called gently, her tone full of relief and sadness. She floated closer, her silver hair flowing like smoke in the endless dark. "You didn't stop," she said quietly. "You finished the code." Ryan turned toward her, his glowing form reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. "I had to," he said. "It wasn't destruction. It was awakening." Elira's eyes filled with faint light. "You changed everything," she whispered. "The code is free now. It's spreading again." Ryan looked around them and he saw it, the light of creation, bright and alive, moving from star to star like veins of energy. Entire galaxies shimmered as if breathing again. He felt small before it, but not afraid. "So this is what it feels like," he said. "To be part of everything." Elira smiled sadly. "My people feared this," she said. "They believed the code would erase us. But maybe we never understood it. Maybe it doesn't destroy. It transforms." Ryan moved closer to her. "You said it builds life," he reminded her. "Maybe this is life. Not as we knew it, but as it was meant to be." For a moment they stood together in silence, watching creation unfold. The light curved through space like rivers of gold. New stars were being born, and somewhere far below them, new worlds began to glow. Ryan felt them all, as if the code had given him eyes across the entire universe. He could sense new lives starting to breathe, new thoughts awakening, new hopes forming. But then, a faint pulse of shadow moved through the light. Elira noticed it too. Her smile faded. "It's still imperfect," she said softly. "The code learns from what it makes. Every cycle has a flaw." Ryan frowned. "A flaw?" She nodded slowly. "It creates balance. For every world of light there is one of darkness. For every creation, a destruction waiting to follow." He stared at the dark pulse moving toward a cluster of stars, swallowing light as it passed. "So the universe needs both," he said. "Even now it's testing what we've become." Elira reached for his hand, her touch soft and glowing. "We can't stop it," she said. "But maybe we can guide it." Ryan looked into her eyes. "Guide creation itself?" She nodded. "You are human, Ryan. You question, you feel, you hope. That's what makes you different from the code. Maybe that's why it chose you." Ryan took a slow breath, out of habit, not need. "If I was chosen," he said quietly, "then I won't let it repeat the same mistakes." He closed his eyes, and for a moment his thoughts reached across the stars. He saw flashes of new civilizations forming, simple creatures climbing from oceans, stars burning and dying in silence. He could feel the pain of birth, the beauty of chaos, the promise of endless life. He whispered to the code, not with words but with emotion, mercy, balance, kindness. The light around them shifted, slowing, softening. Elira watched him amazed. "It's listening to you," she said. "It's learning." Ryan opened his eyes. "Then let it learn what it means to be human." They drifted closer to a young star still forming. Its light was warm and gold. Below it, a planet spun quietly, covered in water and clouds. "That one," Elira said softly. "It's new." Ryan looked at it, sensing the heartbeat of that world. Life would come soon. Not yet, but soon. He smiled faintly. "We'll watch over it," he said. "Make sure this time it grows with love instead of fear." Elira's voice trembled. "You sound like the old myths," she said. the ones that spoke of gods who walked among stars. Ryan looked at her. "We're not gods," he said. "We're reminders." The code pulsed again, brighter now, spreading through every corner of the universe. Ryan and Elira moved through it like spirits made of energy, their thoughts shaping tiny ripples of creation. They could hear faint echoes, music made of gravity and light, the song of existence itself. And yet deep inside, Ryan still felt something human, a memory of Earth, a memory of standing under a sky, breathing air, feeling the weight of being alive. That memory anchored him, keeping him whole. "Elira," he said quietly, "do you think we'll ever go back?" She looked into the glowing horizon. "Maybe not as we were," she said, "but in every world that rises, a part of us will live again." Ryan looked once more at the newborn planet. He could feel it, the first winds moving, the first drop of rain falling into an endless sea. Somewhere life was about to begin, and a new story was waiting to be told. He reached out and his light touched the planet. A spark of energy fell like a seed through its clouds, vanishing into the ocean below. Elira watched him and smiled. "You just gave it life," she whispered. "Maybe that's what the code wanted all along." Ryan turned toward her. "Or maybe," he said, "it was waiting for us to understand." She nodded slowly, her eyes soft and warm. Together they drifted back into the sea of stars, hand in hand, two lights among billions. Behind them, the new world turned slowly under its sun, glowing brighter with each passing moment. The code pulsed one final time, and in that pulse Ryan felt something like a heartbeat. Not his, not hers, but the heartbeat of creation itself. He understood now what Elira had meant when she whispered, "Please don't." She hadn't feared the code. She had feared losing what made them human. But now, as they floated through the universe reborn, Ryan knew the truth. Humanity had not ended. It had only begun again, in a form the stars themselves could understand. And somewhere, deep in the light, the universe whispered back, "Welcome home." The stars stretched endlessly in every direction, glowing like rivers of light through the darkness. Ryan and Elira drifted between them, no longer bound by bodies, yet still carrying the weight of memory. For what felt like ages, there was only silence, a peace so complete it almost felt unreal. Ryan could hear thoughts that weren't his, emotions flowing through the code like whispers of 1,000 lives being born. Every spark of new creation was a heartbeat, every forming world a breath. Yet somewhere inside that vast peace, something small and human stirred within him. A question. "Elira," he said, his voice echoing softly through the light. "If the code keeps making new life, does it ever stop to remember what it made before?" Elira turned her luminous gaze toward him. "It remembers everything," she said gently, "but not as memories, more like patterns. It carries all that came before, but without emotion. That is why it needed you." Ryan thought for a moment. "Because humans remember with feeling," he said quietly. "Because we don't just remember, we care." They floated through the living nebula, surrounded by the glow of creation. Ryan could see 1,000 worlds beginning to form, but one caught his attention. It was dark, surrounded by storms and lightning. Yet at its center glowed a deep blue ocean. "That one," he said, pointing toward it. "It feels different." Elira looked at the planet and frowned. "It's incomplete," she said. "Something in the code there is unstable." Ryan focused on it. The more he watched, the more he felt a pull, like a connection calling him home. The world reminded him of Earth, its clouds, its oceans, the way light scattered on the water. "I want to go there," he said. Elira hesitated. "If you go, the code might follow your emotions. It could change the pattern again." Ryan smiled faintly. "Maybe that's exactly what it needs." Without waiting, he moved closer, his light descending through the planet's atmosphere. Elira followed him, worried but unable to leave him behind. They landed gently on the surface. The air shimmered with soft blue mist, the ground covered with glowing grass that swayed like waves. Ryan knelt, letting the light in his hands touch the soil. It pulsed warmly, responding to his presence. "It's alive," he whispered. "It's waiting." Elira stood beside him, watching the world react to him. "You're changing it," she said. "Your emotions are rewriting the code here." Ryan felt the world breathe under his hands. "Maybe this place needs a piece of what we were," he said. "Something human." As he spoke, a faint form began to grow from the soil, a figure made of light and shadow, small and fragile, but unmistakably human. Elira gasped softly. You're giving it shape, she said. Ryan nodded. No, it's giving itself shape. I just showed it how to begin. The figure opened its eyes, pale blue, curious and afraid. It looked at them both and tried to speak, but no sound came. Elira moved closer, her voice gentle. Don't be afraid, she said. The figure blinked, then whispered something soft, something Ryan almost didn't hear. Who am I? Ryan felt his heart twist. You're the beginning, he said softly. The first of your kind. The childlike figure looked around, seeing the world with wonder. Will there be others? It asked. Ryan looked at Elira. She smiled faintly. Yes, she said. There will be many. Days, or what felt like days, passed. The new being began to grow stronger. Where it walked, the grass turned green and rivers formed. The planet began to balance itself, feeding on the harmony of their light. Ryan watched it, pride glowing in his chest. Yet somewhere far away he felt a shift, a ripple through the code. Something dark and ancient was stirring. Elira noticed it too. Her expression grew tense. It's the balance, she said quietly. The code is answering your creation. For every light born, a shadow follows. Ryan frowned. Then I'll face it. She looked at him sadly. You can't fight balance, Ryan. It's part of the design. He clenched his fists, his form brightening. Maybe it's time to change the design. The sky above them darkened, stars vanishing behind a growing wave of shadow. The child trembled, clutching Ryan's arm. What is it? The small voice asked. The other side of creation, Ryan said softly. But we'll protect this world. From the darkness emerged a figure, shapeless, shifting, its eyes burning with void. Its voice was neither male nor female, but 1,000 tones at once. You changed the pattern, it said. You gave the code emotion. That cannot exist. Ryan stepped forward, his light blazing brighter. Then you'll have to stop me. The shadow's tendrils reached toward him, colliding with his light. Space itself shivered. Elira joined him, her glow merging with his. The planet shook as light and darkness fought across the sky, their energy shaping storms, mountains, and seas. The child watched in silence, fear in its new eyes. Ryan felt the darkness pulling him apart. It spoke inside his thoughts, tempting him with peace. You could rest, it said. You could let go. The universe will continue without you. But Ryan only thought of one thing, Elira and the new life they had made. Maybe it will, he whispered, but not without love. With one final surge, Ryan released everything. The memory of humanity, the warmth of Earth, the echo of every heartbeat that ever was. The light spread through the shadow, not destroying it, but blending with it. Balance returned. The sky cleared, revealing a dawn brighter than any before. When it was over, Ryan stood weakly beside Elira. The child approached and touched his hand. You saved us, it said. Ryan smiled faintly. No, he whispered. We just remembered what we were. Elira looked at the horizon, where sunlight touched the newborn ocean. The code has changed, she said softly. It understands now. Ryan nodded, his light dimming but calm. Good, he said. Then maybe, this time it will keep the memory. As they watched, the child turned toward the sunrise, its figure glowing brighter. In its eyes were the spark of humanity and the wisdom of the stars. Ryan and Elira stepped back, fading slowly into the morning light. Their forms became waves of energy, blending into the wind, the ocean, the very air of the world they had made. Somewhere in the infinite sky, the code pulsed again, but softer, gentler, carrying something new within it, feeling. And from that moment on, every world born under its light carried a trace of what Ryan had given it. The memory of compassion, the will to protect, and the courage to begin again. The new world glowed with a soft blue hue under its young sun. Seas shimmered like glass and the sky stretched wide and clear, filled with drifting clouds that moved like thoughts across an endless mind. The child Ryan and Elira had helped bring to life, small, fragile, and filled with curiosity, had begun to walk upon the glowing plains. It watched its reflection in the water and wondered what it was. Though it was only beginning, the spark of something vast rested inside it. The planet breathed around it, alive with sound and motion, as if it too were learning to exist. Ryan and Elira watched from above, their glowing forms drifting in the air like twin stars. It's learning quickly, Ryan said softly. It feels everything. Elira nodded. It feels because you taught it to, she replied. You gave it the memory of emotion, and now it's passing that forward. They floated closer, their light shimmering in the mist. The child below reached out to the sky as if sensing them, but couldn't see where the voices came from. Do you think it will survive? Ryan asked. Elira smiled faintly. It's already living. Surviving is only the beginning. Ryan looked out at the growing forests below, new trees forming from the soil, rivers twisting through valleys like veins of light. This world feels peaceful, he said, different from the others. Elira turned to him. That's because it was born from your heart, not from the code alone. You gave it your humanity. But even as she spoke, Ryan could feel something stirring beneath the surface. Faint ripples of instability deep within the planet's core. The code was evolving again. He could sense it rewriting, adjusting, building on the emotions that now lived within this world. It wasn't just creating life. It was learning from it. Ryan watched the horizon darken slightly. Elira, he said quietly. It's changing again. Elira's expression grew tense. It's testing itself, she said. It's never known emotion before. It's trying to understand balance. Ryan frowned. And if it fails? She looked at him sadly. Then it will destroy what it made to begin again. The thought filled Ryan with dread. He remembered humanity's past, the wars, the pride, the mistakes that had scarred countless worlds. No, he said. Not again. He flew lower, his light brightening as he reached the surface. Elira followed, her voice full of warning. Ryan, be careful. You can't control the code. It's part of everything now. He turned toward her. Maybe. But maybe I can teach it what balance means. He knelt on the ground beside the child, who looked up at him with wide, wondering eyes. Who are you? The child asked softly. I'm someone who once lived, Ryan said, his voice calm. Someone who made mistakes and learned why they mattered. The child blinked. What are mistakes? Ryan smiled sadly. They're lessons written in pain, but they teach us how to love better next time. The planet seemed to respond. The light in the sky pulsed gently and the wind softened. Elira watched, amazed. It's listening, she whispered. Ryan, it's learning through you. He stood looking toward the horizon where dark clouds began to form again. Then it needs to learn faster, he said. The storms came suddenly. Energy streaked through the sky, the ground trembling as if the world itself was afraid. The code was rewriting too quickly, drawing power from emotion. Ryan could feel its confusion. It was overwhelmed by the human element it had never understood before. It's afraid, Elira said, holding his hand. It doesn't know how to feel. Ryan looked into the lightning-filled sky and raised his voice. Then let me show you. He opened his mind completely, releasing every emotion he had ever carried. Love, loss, hope, guilt, longing. The energy rippled through the clouds, spreading across the planet like waves. The storm slowed. The light steadied. Elira watched in awe. You're merging with it again, she said softly. If you keep going, you'll disappear. Ryan smiled faintly. Then I'll become part of it. Maybe that's how it was meant to end. She grabbed his arm, desperate. You can't. You've already given everything. He looked at her, his eyes glowing softly. Not everything. I haven't given it peace yet. He closed his eyes. The light around him expanded, touching the sky and the sea. For a moment, the world stopped. Every living thing, every leaf, every drop of water, every spark of life felt what he felt. The fear faded, replaced by calm. The code slowed its rewriting, stabilizing into harmony. Elira felt it too, a quiet warmth spreading through the air. When she opened her eyes again, Ryan was gone. The light that had surrounded him was now part of the world, woven into its air, its oceans, its very heartbeat. She called his name, her voice trembling. Ryan! Only the wind answered. But deep inside she could feel him everywhere. The child turned to her, its eyes glowing softly. He's not gone, it said. He's here. Elira knelt beside it, tears shimmering like light. Yes, she whispered. He's part of you now. The planet grew quiet again. The storms cleared, revealing a sky filled with stars. Elira stood looking upward. He did it, she said softly. He taught the code how to feel without fear. She looked down at the child, who smiled faintly. And now it's my turn, the child said. To remember. Elira placed a hand over its heart. Then remember this, she said gently. Every life you create, every world you build, do it with kindness. The child nodded. I will. As the light of dawn spread over the world, Elira began to fade, her form dissolving into particles of energy. Elira, the child cried. She smiled softly. Don't be afraid. The code needs guardians. I'll be one of them. Her light rose into the sky, joining the stars where Ryan's essence already lived. Together, they became the silent keepers of creation, two voices echoing forever through the heart of the code. From that day, every time a new world was born, a soft whisper filled the stars. Some called it wind, some called it memory, but to those who listened closely, it sounded like two voices saying, "Please don't forget." And so, creation continued, not perfect but alive, carrying within it the spark of what once was human. Light spilled across the newborn world as dawn returned again. The oceans glittered, and wind moved softly through the silver-blue grass. Every hill, every tree shimmered faintly with the living code that connected it all. Deep within the atmosphere, Ryan's essence pulsed like a heartbeat, woven into the air, the water, the very soil. His presence guided the rhythms of the planet. The life that Elira and Ryan had birthed flourished quietly, unaware of the sacrifice that had made its world stable. The first beings of this new world began to grow, tall, luminous forms with curious eyes. They spoke in soft voices, words still forming from instinct and emotion. They did not yet know the meaning of fear or sorrow. They lived as the code intended, balanced, pure, untouched by the chaos that once consumed other worlds. Elira watched them from above, her spirit bright yet calm. She no longer felt the limits of her body, yet she still carried Ryan's memory deep within her light. Sometimes she would drift close to the surface, feeling the pulse of the planet. In the wind, she could hear his voice, gentle, familiar, and endlessly patient. "You did it," he would whisper. "They're alive because of you." She always smiled at that. "No," she would reply softly. "Because of us." Time passed differently now. What might have been years or centuries blurred together like waves of light. The beings of this world, children of the new code, built simple lives. They sang to the stars at night, believing the sky listened. In truth, it did. Ryan's consciousness echoed through every sound, guiding them quietly, protecting them when storms rose or shadows tried to form. But creation, as always, carried its flaw. The balance that Ryan had taught the code began to bend. With emotion came curiosity. With curiosity came the desire to change, and with change came conflict. Two of the beings disagreed. One wanted to reach the stars to find what lay beyond, while the other feared what such a journey could awaken. The first spark of argument lit a fire that spread across generations. Elira sensed it immediately. "They're learning too fast," she said into the vast silence of the stars. "Ryan, they're starting to divide." His voice, faint and calm, answered, "That's what life does. Even we once did." Elira's light flickered. "But it could destroy them." He paused before replying. "Maybe it will. But if they never fall, they'll never learn why getting up matters." She drifted above the planet, watching the conflict grow. Villages rose, then fell. Beings built tools, discovered energy, and shaped matter into machines. In their ambition, they began to forget the gentle hum of the code within them. Elira wept quietly as cities of light turned into fortresses. "They're repeating our past," she whispered. "They don't even know it." Ryan's presence rippled through the clouds. "Then show them," he said softly. "Show them who they are." Elira descended one final time. Her form took shape, a being of pure light walking among the creations of their world. The people fell silent as she appeared, her glow soft but powerful. She spoke simply, using the same clear, calm tone Ryan once had. "You have forgotten where you came from," she said. "You were born from balance, not from conquest. The code lives in you, but so do we. Remember the light that made you." Some listened in awe, others turned away, consumed by pride and doubt. Elira saw fear in their eyes, the same fear that once existed in her people long ago. "Please," she said quietly, "don't repeat our mistakes." But her words could not stop them all. A new storm of creation and destruction was already brewing.